Hello ESL teachers, welcome to my lesson plan walkthrough for this class, The Elephant Can't Fly. You can download it completely for free, just click on the link in the description. This class is aimed at A1 level learners, and in this class they're going to learn 20 animal names and also how to make sentences using the modal verb can to talk about abilities. For example, they're going to learn to make sentences such as the dolphin can swim, the frog can jump, or, like the sentence you see on the title page now, the elephant can't fly. So let's jump straight into it and go to the first vocabulary word. It is lion, as you can see. I'll just click through them now and you can see all of the vocabulary that students will be learning in this class. Actually, there are 20 animal names, which is quite a lot. Normally, I wouldn't introduce 20 new words to students in one class, but I find that even very low-level students, kindergarten students, almost complete beginners, they actually, for some reason, they already know a lot of animal vocabulary. So in reality, it's probably only going to be about 10 new words. Okay, so as you show students the vocabulary, you can model the pronunciation, have them repeat it, or use whatever techniques you like to familiarize students with the vocabulary. Okay, I think that's the last one, penguin. Okay, so now we can go on to the next activity. And as you can see, this activity is called Pet Detective. And the aim of this activity is to familiarize students with the vocabulary in a fun and engaging way. So as you can see, we have a pet detective on the screen with his magnifying glass. Let's go to the next slide and you can see him in the bottom corner. Okay, so on every slide, the pet detective has to look or listen to a clue and decide which animal it is. Okay, so before you look at the clue, I recommend reading the vocabulary for the students and pointing to the corresponding image at the same time. So in this case, the teacher can say lion, giraffe, monkey, elephant, and then draw students' attention to the clue. In this case, it is a paw print of animal footprint in the ground, and elicit answers from the students. So they can put up their hands and guess. And after you've elicited a few answers, you can reveal the correct answer. And in this case, it's a lion. Okay, so let's go to the next slide and you can see the pet detective again. This time he has his paw cupped to his ear. That's because he's listening. So let's click the slide and listen to the audio clip. So again, you can elicit answers from the students. Well, first of all, read the vocabulary to the students, listen to the audio clip, and then elicit answers. And then you can reveal the correct answer. In this case, it's a parrot. And let's go to the next one. This time it's a close-up of an animal body part. It's a kangaroo. So you get the idea. The game continues in this fashion. Let's look at the next one. Okay, that's an elephant. All right, so I'll just go through all of these now and you can see them so you know what to expect before you teach the class. It's a snake. Okay, this is a close-up here. That's an eagle. So if you want to play the audio clip, just click on it with the mouse or the arrow key on your keyboard. As the clip plays, the outline of the clue box changes red. Once the clip has finished, it goes back to blue. Okay, another footprint. It's a giraffe. So I think this activity is good because it gives the students a chance to hear the teacher using the vocabulary in a natural way. And it also gives them a chance to produce the vocabulary. Okay. And of course, to make it more interesting to the students, you can gamify it in whatever way that you like. I usually put the students into teams and have them take turns guessing which animal it is and award points for correct answers. To be honest, the questions aren't particularly difficult, but that's because the main focus is just on exposing the students to the vocabulary and giving them a chance to use it in a structured way. Okay, so we've got a few more to go here. Let's keep clicking through them. I think this is the last one. Right. Okay, so that's a bat. That's the last one. So we can click through, and now we've solved all of the clues. We get this case solved message, and we can move on to the next activity. Again, this activity is aiming to give the students one last chance to use the vocabulary, but this time they don't get to hear the teacher pronounce the words first. They have to remember the words totally by themselves. So they look at the silhouette and they have to guess which animal it is. Again, I think it's not particularly difficult, but the tricky part for the students is remembering the vocabulary. Okay, so let's just click through these so you can see them. Again, if you want to gamify it by putting the students into teams or something along those lines, I think that's a good idea. And while you do this, if there are any words that the students are struggling with, it's a good opportunity to maybe drill them or focus on them again. Okay, let's click through. This one's the bat, the eagle, bee, the rhino, kangaroo. Okay, just click on the slides and the animals will move along like this. Okay, so that was the last one. And now that the students should be quite familiar with the vocabulary, perhaps they haven't remembered all of the words perfectly, but I think that's okay. Now it's time to move on to making some sentences, okay? So, well, the first verb that we're going to use to make sentences is run, okay? So we've got a picture to illustrate the meaning of run, but feel free to use body language just to reinforce the meaning and make sure students understand what the verb run means. Okay, and then we're going to go to our first sentence. The horse can run. And the snake can't run. So we've got two sentences, kind of opposite sentences here to illustrate the meaning of can and can't. Again, feel free to use body language such as thumbs up, thumbs down to reinforce the meaning for students. But I think based on the pictures, it should be quite clear to them what the difference is between can and can't. Okay, so now that they've seen a couple of model sentences, we can move on to trying to elicit sentences from the students themselves. If you think it will be helpful, you can write these sentences on the whiteboard so that students can refer back to them during the next activity. Okay, because now, as you can see, we've got the picture of the lion. This time the students have to make a sentence just like the previous sentences we've just seen. In this case, the lion can run. This one will be the octopus can't run, the bee can't run, and the hippo can run. Okay, now let's move on. This time we're going to use the verb fly. The eagle can fly, and a negative sentence, the elephant can't fly. And it's the same as before. We're just getting the students to make their own sentences. Okay, move on to the next verb. In this case, swim. We've got the picture to illustrate the meaning of swim. The dolphin can swim, the affirmative sentence, and the negative sentence, the parrot can't swim. Okay, so the same thing as before. Get the students to look at the picture and make their own sentence. Okay, and the last verb that we're going to use to make sentence is jump. The frog can jump. The hippo can't jump. The rhino can't jump. The kangaroo can jump. The monkey can jump. And the octopus can jump. Can't jump, sorry. Okay. Alright, so let's go to the next activity. And students are going to make similar sentences based on the prompts that appear on the screen, okay? And these prompts get progressively harder. They start off with just one animal, but by the end, students will be required to make 8 sentences, okay? But first of all, just get the students to put their hands up if they can make a sentence based on this prompt. So this prompt is one animal that can't swim. So students will need to make a sentence such as the eagle can't swim or the parrot can't swim. Okay. And once you've elicited one correct sentence, move on to the next slide. This time 2 animals that can fly. So get the students to put their hands up if they can make a correct sentence and choose 2 different students to make one sentence. So in this case, it could be the flamingo can fly. Okay, or the eagle can fly. And go on to the next one. This time it's 3 animals that can't jump. For example, the hippo can't jump, the giraffe can't jump, the elephant can't jump. You can get students to make sentences like this. If you have a big class and maybe you want the students to have some more speaking time, you could put them in pairs or groups and have them brainstorm their sentences for each prompt and then have each group read out their whole list. Okay, but for smaller classes, you can just get the students to put their hands up. Okay, let's click through the rest of the prompts so that you can see them. 7 animals that can't fly, and the last one, 8 animals that can run. So we can click on the slide and now move on to the last activity, which is a game called Creature Clash. Okay, this is a card game and all the cards that you need to play this game are available in the PowerPoint. They'll be the last slides in the PowerPoint, okay? They'll be hidden so they won't appear in presentation mode, but if you want to use them, you can just go to the slides at the end of the PowerPoint and print them off. Okay. So the rules actually are included in the PowerPoint to help you explain them to the students. Although if the students are A1 level, it might be a little bit difficult for them to understand. But if you want to, you can use it. And it's also a good reminder for you on how the game works. Okay, so first of all, deal the cards. And the students, I think there's 24 cards in a set. So I think the game works best with 4 students per game. Or if you have a bigger class, you can put them into teams. So 4 teams and each team gets 6 cards. And the students have to put the cards in front of them face down on the table. And then player 1 turns over their first card. So you can play rock, paper, scissors or something to decide the order in which the students play. And the player 1 has to find their highest score and make a sentence. So in this case, it will be the hippo can run the hippo can run 72. Okay, each icon here, the horse, the dolphin, the eagle, and the frog, they all represent one of the verbs that we studied earlier. So in this case, the horse represents run. Obviously, the dolphin swim, the eagle fly, and the frog jump. So in this case, the hippo's best score is run 72, so they can make their sentence. Then the other players turn over their first card and make a sentence for the same category. They can't choose a different category. They have to use the same category. So in this case, the dolphin has a 0. So if you have a 0, you have to use can't. So in this case, the dolphin can't run 0. Here, the lion can run 90. And player 4, the bee can't run 0. So the player with the highest score keeps all of the cards and puts them at the bottom of their pile. So in this round of the game, the lion is the winner. So that player can keep the cards and put them at the bottom of his pile, and then it's player's 2 turn to go first. Keep playing until someone loses all their cards. At this point, the remaining players count their cards, and the player with the most cards is the winner. And there are also some wild cards, which are cards which don't contain one of the animals they studied earlier. The 2 wild cards are dragon and tortoise. Okay. So as you can see, the dragon has 100 for everything and the tortoise has 0 for everything. These cards are just placed into the deck and dealt randomly. So it is possible that if 2 players have a score of 100 for the same category in the same round, it will be a draw. So in that case, they have to play rock, paper, scissors, and the winner can keep the cards. And the same thing with 0. Play rock, paper, scissors if it's a draw, and the winner can keep the cards. So once you've explained the rules, you can show this slide and have students play the game. So again, it's just a fun way to have students practice using the target language and making sentences with can to describe abilities. And that is the final slide of the presentation. You can leave that on the screen while the students play the game. I will just quickly show you the cards. So these are the cards. Okay. There are 24 cards in a pack, 2 dragons and 2 tortoises included. And you can just print these cards and cut them out. I like to laminate them, or if you really want to go the extra mile, you can also print out the back of the card, stick them together and laminate them, and then that will give the cards a kind of high quality finish that the students really enjoy. Okay, but that is the end of today's lesson plan walkthrough. So if you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you can get notified every time I release a new lesson. And remember, if you want to download it, you can completely for free. Just go to the link in the description. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.